Pats Nation, the New England Patriots are officially back on the board as they are back to signing free agents. Took 2 days off after that big first day of the legal tampering period, but late here on Thursday, they are making another move as they are signing linebacker slash pass rusher K'Lavon Chaisson to a 1-year deal. Now, this 1-year deal is worth up to $5 million. We don't know all the details yet, but it's very important to recognize that up to $5 million, meaning that that is the maximum money that he's going to make. Now, biggest thing here is that, again, I need to see the terms of the contract because right now, this money does not dictate a roster spot. Now, if we find out that that entire $5 million is guaranteed, okay, well, this guy's probably going to be a roster lock. But if we find out that it's maybe $3 million maximum guaranteed, then this is somebody who has something to prove. This screams a guy that the Patriots are bringing in to see if they can get anything out of. At the very least, can be a good depth and situational pass rusher for them for this upcoming season. But every single year, Patriots fans, we sign someone. The Patriots sign someone, and everybody's interested in them because they have name value, not because they've necessarily done anything, not because they deserve a roster spot, but because they have name value. And I cannot stress this enough that he's one of those guys that if we get into training camp and he's not performing up to par, and the Patriots feel like they can release him, free up some money, and get someone maybe a little bit better, he just is someone that doesn't deserve a roster spot, then he's someone that could be cut during training camp or during roster cutdowns. Now, a little bit about K'Lavon Chaisson. This is a guy that I distinctly remember during the draft process, was taken by the Jacksonville Jags back in 2020 by Doug Marrone. By the way, I will say, Patriots offensive lines coach, when he was the head coach of the Jags, actually made this selection. So this is also another one of those signings where the Patriots, yet again, have connections back to the player. And really not just from this signing, but really more of a general statement. What we are learning is that this really is a collaborative effort going on in New England. It is not just a Mike Vrabel guy. It's not just an Elliott Wolf guy, but it's everybody coming together. Whether you are in the front office, whether you're a head coach, whether you are a coordinator, whether you are a positional coach, if there is a player that you think is going to help this team and you can give a valuable input to, then Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel, they are going to listen. But like I said, the Jags did select him in the 2020 NFL draft in the first round. He was the 20th pick overall. I will say, liked the player going into the draft, liked the player coming out of the draft. In fact, I watched his career very closely, but was never somebody who I believed should have been a first-round pick. He was more of a second-round pick in my mind, and even then has not lived up to those expectations. Interestingly enough, his first year with the Jags in 2020, again as a first-round pick, only played 51% of their defensive snaps. Year 2 in 2021, he played 39% of their defensive snaps. In 2022, year 3, only 18% of their defensive snaps. And then his final year in Jacksonville in 2023 only plays in 25% of their defensive snaps. This past season in 2024 spends the year with the Las Vegas Raiders. Interestingly enough, he actually broke out, at least for his previous metrics, broke out with the Raiders. And I do say break out lightly, but again, for his metrics, he did break out, but he was also utilized the most he had ever been utilized in his young NFL career. He was utilized in 52% of the Raiders' defensive snaps this past season. This is also somebody that is going to give the Patriots special teams ability. So the contract he got, the usage that he's had throughout his career so far screams like a guy who is more of a second to third situational pass rusher, more of a depth piece who's going to be on the field during obvious passing situations, but is also going to give you some depth. He's going to give you that ability to also play on special teams. That is something that could potentially help him make this final roster. The good thing, too, about this move is that he is still young. He is still in his prime. He did have that second round projection on him, so he was clearly talented at the collegiate level heading into the NFL, but so far with the Jags and so far with the Raiders just has not been able to piece it together. Does he come to New England, the third organization he's been with in the NFL thus far, and Are the Patriots the team? Is Terrell Williams the team that ultimately figures it out with K'Lavon Chaisson? Maybe. I'm not expecting it to. But again, that's why you're bringing him in on just a low-end one-year deal. But again, 25, so if he does end up working out, he is still in his prime, you can give him a longer-end contract. Not somebody that's falling off, but again, is still in the midst of his prime. 6'3", 245 pounds. He's going to be a little bit smaller than you would want from your linebackers, from your edge rushers, but he does have that length, which we know that Mike Vrabel really, really likes. One of the best ways that I kind of can make this comparison would kind of be like to a Yannick Ngakoue that the Patriots added late in the season in 2024, just this past year under Gerard Mayo, the type of guy that comes in as a pass rusher. Now, Yannick Ngakoue on the back end of his career, Chaisson obviously in the prime of his career, but in terms of usage, that's kind of how I see him being utilized in a name that a lot of Patriots fans can kind of recognize. But this past season with the Raiders, he had an overall PFF grade of 63 that ranked 93rd amongst the qualifying 211 edge rushers. His pass rush grade was 74.7 that ranked 26th amongst the qualifying 211 edge rushers. So not bad at all. But his run defensive grade was 59.5 that ranked 111th out of a qualifying 211 edge rushers. Again, very obvious what the Patriots defense is trying to do when K'Lavon Chaisson is on the field. He's one-dimensional. That's why he's only going to be on the field oh so often. But if he can be developed a little bit more as a run defender, he's someone who will get more opportunities on the defensive side of the football. It's just throughout his entire career in the NFL to this point, he hasn't been someone who's been a very good run defender, whether it was with the Raiders or whether it was with Jacksonville. But he also had 20 solo tackles that ranked 58th out of a qualifying 211 edge rushers. He had 6 sacks this past season, which isn't bad at all. I think, as a situational third-string edge rusher, we would take 6 sacks from that in 2025. I think I speak for all Patriots fans when I say that. But those 6 sacks ranked 42 out of a qualifying 211 edge rushers, had 7 assisted tackles and 1 forced fumble. He had 20 total stops. He also had 19 hurries. He had 4 quarterback hits and 29 total pressures. He had roughly a 12% pass rush win rate, which was actually better than the Patriots' Keion White, who a lot of people are saying, hey, Keion White actually had a pretty good season, this past year. Well, K'Lavon Chaisson was actually better than Keion White, according to the metrics. So, want to look at his 2023 numbers just to give you guys a little bit more perspective on him. But this was his final year in Jacksonville. He had an overall grade of 54.7 that ranked 153rd out of a qualifying 197 edge rushers. A pass rush grade of 58.2 that ranked 127th out of a qualifying 197 edge rushers. And a 58 overall run defensive grade, which ranked 125th out of a qualifying 197 edge rushers. 9 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 assisted. He had 9 total stops, 6 total hurries, 6 total quarterback hits, and 14 total pressures. To be completely honest with you guys, I just think the Jags, for the most part, don't actually know how to develop players. So the fact that he started to develop, the fact that he, again, broke out for his metrics with the Raiders this past year, I think that if he goes to the right situation, he is somebody that deserves to be in the NFL and can be unlocked. He has that untapped potential in him. Can Terrell Williams get that out of him? That's just a to-be-determined approach. But I think between Mike Vrabel, I think between Terrell Williams, this is a signing that I don't mind whatsoever because it's a low-risk, high-reward type of potential. The Patriots also lost Dietrich Wise to the Commanders in free agency, so they need depth at edge rusher as it is. Building in the trenches, we knew heading into free agency that was going to be one, if not the biggest priority for the Patriots. So again, this falls under that category. You're building up the depth amongst also building up your starting core. Really, really like this move. Again, a guy that had all the potential in college, but just hasn't pieced it together yet in the NFL. But guys, this is where I kick it to you. What are your thoughts on K'Lavon Chaisson being signed to a 1-year deal worth up to a maximum of $5 million? Let us know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, and breakdowns. As always, though, I appreciate you guys so much for clicking on today's video to hear me talk about some Patriots news. And until next time, go Pats.